Hello again. I'm here to tell another story, something that I've been kind of working up towards, I guess. Recently, within the last 6 months, after my whole process that I've gone through, that I've kind of gone over in other videos, I have had some interesting experiences on with the help of the internet, other people. So I will say, I went through my hermit period, and after that, I slowly integrated myself back into the world with the help of course, streaming on Twitch. That was a big part of it. Once I kind of worked from that, I started to make my way up to like different um different discords and things, because as a streamer, I did want to help spread awareness of my stream, but by going to different discords, or just like posting when I was live and stuff like that. And I met a lot of people. There was a group that it was help kind of run by an old friend of mine who was from the same city as I am. And he was my brother. He was actually went to school with my brother, and I've known him for a long time. We like started the D&D campaign together, and there was other things that kind of, we were both nerds, and so it made sense to kind of go with the nerd thing. So I joined his Discord, and he also was a streamer, and there were other people on the Discord who were streamers, so they helped me with my streaming situation. Shout out Hambo, Plaz, hey guys, thank you so much. Guilt, thank you guys for helping me with my streaming stuff. And I just like, I was appreciative that they were there for me, and they helped me kind of work my way up. We had similar things. We played Smash Brothers together. We played other random games together. Magic the Gathering, of course, was a game that I played. I've streamed with Hambo numerous times. You probably have seen if you watch my streams. Friday Night Magic, we've done like different games and stuff like that with Commander. We would stream our setups, and stream our Commander games. And that was so fun. Like, I'll never miss those days. I'll always miss those days. I'll never forget those days, is what I meant. I do miss them, is what I'm trying to say. But anyways, moving on. So I started to go to other discords too. After kind of interacting with them, and playing games with them, and there was just tons of fun stuff we did. But I also started to connect to other discords. There's another streamer known as CuteBot, and she's a big part of my kind of journey as well. Um, I she so what she does is she kind of hosts like Twitch dating things, and so she does like kind of like blind dates, not really blind dates, but because like she knows a lot of the people who come on, but she does like dating things. She also does like what is it called? Sorry, I can't think of the word right now. Debates. She does debates as well, so she does like dating and debate streams, and it's just fun stuff like that, like getting communities involved. And she has a very nice community, I will say. I go to her Discord. Her Discord is where her community really is primarily at. She has a bunch of cool people on there that have all kind of joined the community through her dating streams, and her debate stuff and everything. And I don't want to tell her story. She has a beautiful story, and she's been doing some beautiful things with streaming, and with the communities that are involved. A lot of men who go on there, are just and some women too, are people who see her, and her light, and they want to be part of that, part of her world. And it's really nice for her to do stuff like that. And like I said, I want to tell her story, so I'm not going to get too deep into that. But I personally got involved into the community. To tell the truth, I actually was on her show a few years ago, before I did my hermit mode and everything. And it was interesting. She even was like, she saw my facial hair and stuff. She's like, oh, it's good. It looks good. Like, and she said she should grow it, and I did grow it more. Not specifically because she said so, but it was a nice way to help give me the motivation to keep growing it. Um, But regardless, so I was on back then, and it was fun. I sang what was the song? Beggin' by Maneskin. I know they actually was a cover. Their version was a cover as well, but I kind of covered their version, and that was fun. And then I came back on, like I said, this 7 months ago, like half a year ago, and I like kind of reemerged as Blaze Tarnish at that time. But this because, like I said before, I didn't have Blaze Tarnish as my username or Twitch account. It was different before then. So, anyways, I as Blaze Tarnish though, I came back on, and I don't know if she recognized me or not. Like she seemed to have not. She seemed like she had never met me before, and I don't. She meets a lot of people though, like tens, hundreds, maybe thousands at this point have been on her show. And I came on, and I kind of just did my own thing, and this is after I kind of came in with a different disposition of how I normally was. I wasn't. I was learning a lot about myself and learning about my shadows and where I was improving, and I kind of stuck to my guns, and I felt like it was a very fun and interesting experience, and she seemed to enjoy me on. I sang Ride by 21 Pilots. If you know, you know. Taking my time on my ride. um and it was really fun, and I remember right after that I was like kind of put into another channel of her server where there were a bunch of other people kind of, I don't know if they were excited to meet me or they saw me on the show or what it was, like exactly it was, but I met many characters in that server. To this day, I still hang out with a lot of them. And it was really fun and interesting kind of get dropped into that. There were people who I felt like knew I was coming, like knew I was supposed to be there, and I didn't really understand that. To be honest with you, at the time I was, still very in like I said, I was learning a lot about myself and also about my spirituality as well. And so actually I felt like I was supposed to be there as well. And that was a thing that really, it really like shined light on what am I doing, like what I'm doing, and I realized like this is all meant to be, because these people didn't know me before. I didn't think they did, but it felt like they knew me. There was one guy who was so sure that he knew who I was, and he was like, hey man, come on, why are you acting like this? Like I was, and I didn't know if I was brainwashed, if I was like, if I was like, did I get my memory wiped at some point and I forgot about all of this, because I didn't know them, but they knew me. There was another guy who he was known to have recently become very addicted to cocaine, unfortunately, but he even seemed to like know who I was or who I was supposed to be, and that like I was part of his journey. And this is like, this is when I was taking edibles and stuff, so I was still kind of like very like in the clouds. I was in space kind of with these experiences, and it was something different. It was something that I've never felt like I experienced in my life before, to be kind of just dropped into a community and felt like I was belonging. uh and there was other things that happened on that stream, that she had even said that it felt too, what's the word, um synchronous, synchronistic. And I don't know if how much of it was and how much of it was just me making it up in my head, but I still believe that all of this stuff is true. I still believe that I was meant to be there, because I've been there, like I said, in that Discord for months now. Up to this day, I was in there this morning, and it's like I feel like I'm just a valid part of the community. And so at that time they were doing karaoke nights and other things, and actually I didn't address this just yet, but before I came to that server, I had looked into doing a little bit of a like a forget exactly what it was called. It was called like a memory journey or something. But I had talked to a spiritual medium. Her name was Ashley, and she had me kind of like just say what came to mind, and had me like in a kind of like hypnotic type state, but I could still like I was still very aware of what was going on. And I was just kind of just saying what came to my mind, what I was seeing, what I was feeling. And it was interesting because I've never really talked about this. Maybe one day I'll release it if people want me to release the journey that I had. But there was something about it. It was saying like I said, this was before I came into the CuteBot Discord, but I had a part of my visions. It was a vision quest. That's what it was. It was a vision quest. It was called Vision Journey, Vision Quest. I forget. But anyways, I had a vision where I was in a like a dark room, and there was like I was doing karaoke. It was like a karaoke room, but there was like a screen in front of me that was blocking me from all the other people in the karaoke room, and I didn't I just was saying what it was because I knew I liked karaoke, so I knew that that's what I was doing in this dark room. But like the screen was weird to me. But since then, and I was in CuteBot server, we've done karaoke on streams, and it's exactly how it felt. Literally, I was in a screen with all these people, and I see these people, and I'm singing to these people on this screen, and it was like, wow, this is exactly what I saw on that journey. And like at that point, like when I had come to that realization, one day I'd listened to the Vision Journey again. I'm like, wow, I that's exactly what I do. Like that's exactly what's going on here. And there's more to that Vision Journey as well that I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to get to today. But there have been other things that have kind of happened in a sense. Um, and so this is why I wanted to get more into that. So we did karaoke a couple times, and I felt like what was going on was very it was a perfect storm of things that was happening. And there have been things like, so I was realized I was just listening to my inner voice, my voice, to kind of tell me what the next step on my journey is, and what to do. And at one point I had said I wanted to go to California. And this is something that is still stuck to me, and I do want to go to California. I feel like I'm being called to California, and I've told other people who have kind of been part of my journey as well. I don't know if I ever mentioned Kavala. Um, Kavala is somebody who came to me one day while I was streaming, after I had posted on a Reddit for starseeds, which I've learned about starseeds before that. Um, and I believe I am somewhat part of a starseed initiative. I'm not going to get too deep into what starseeds are. You can feel free to do some research yourself. It is very interesting, and if you feel called to, do that, and you may be a starseed yourself. But so the whole idea of starseed is that you have the human you that is on the planet is was kind of seeded in here for a reason, from the stars, right? And there's more to it. I'm not gonna get into it, but anyway, like I said, I had posted about my stream and music experience that I've had on my stream, because on my stream, another thing that I really didn't delve into yet, and I wanted to delve into in a later video, but I'm gonna kind of just talk about it now, is music really has been like part of my journey. And music that I've listened to, even from random algorithms, have been kind of like talking to me, and it's part of like that like I said, that inner voice, I feel like comes from the music as well. And so the certain songs have played while I was streaming that kind of gave me hints and little things of what I should do and help me with my shadow work, and help me so much with my shadow work. They help me relive experiences that I had with exes and things, and kind of relive it in my head, and see where what was going on there, my toxic attributes and things that I needed to work on, and then I have a lot from there. uh so like I said, Kavala had even I've even talked to Kavala about going to California, and she said that may be part of my journey, but not yet. But I was, I think something that I was still not completely like. I am a patient person. However, I have some forms of impatience, and it feels like when I'm kind of stuck at a crossroads, that's when I get the most impatient. And I was stuck at a crossroads at some point. I didn't want to just wait around. I wanted to make something happen. So I decided that I'm going to go to California. And I didn't decide it outright, but I knew I wanted to do it. But at one point, I'm going to get to the point where I decided it. But, anyways, so I remember I had gone down to New Jersey, uh, the Jersey Shore, which my father has a place there, so I was visiting that place. And I had borrowed my grandmother's car there to do it because I didn't have my car at the time. So I borrowed her car. And this is where I had decided that while I was down there to go, and it was just like a just nudge in my system. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make something happen. I'm gonna drive to California, and I started driving to California. And the first, like, there was a lot of like resistance there, right? But I knew it was something I wanted to do, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna follow my gut for once in my life. Well, not for once in my life. I followed my gut before, but I've been really shutting down the gut feeling a lot, and I feel like I shouldn't be. I should be listening to my gut feeling. Your gut, is part of your body. Is a reason it tells you to do something. So I followed it and I did it. And so I started driving to California. I didn't really have a big plan in mind. I didn't have anything in mind, but I said I'm going to do it. And so I was driving through Pennsylvania, going west, and I remember I wanted to go shore to shore. That was my whole goal. I was gonna. I'd been at the Jersey Shore. I went to the beach at the Jersey Shore, and then I had went and dried off, took my shower and everything, and start getting ready for my journey. And I started my journey, and I had a bunch of food that I had prepped up and planned. I remember I picked up a bunch of food to go with. Um, and so while I was in Pennsylvania, driving through Pennsylvania. It's quite a journey. But one thing always happened. I remember what had happened while I was still in PA was tire blew out, and remember I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Why am I doing this? And I did have a flat. We did have a rather what's it called? Like a replacement for a flat. I can't think of the name of it right now, but like a donut, I guess, is what it's called. So I had a donut, and I remember I had to put the donut on, which I don't think you want to be driving to California on a donut. But anyways, I was like, is this the right thing for me to be doing? And I had the donut replaced. I remember I was actually like getting ready to replace it and like just getting the stuff out, and a guy actually came over, and he was just happened to be driving down the road, and he saw me pulled over, and he was a guy that will yes, he just said he helps people who are stuck on the road like that. And he helped me. He helped me put the tire on, and we got it on. Everything was great, and I drove off, kept going towards California. A cool thing that I did was remember near Pittsburgh, north of Pittsburgh, I had found a little it was like a forest encampment type situation, and I went in there, explored it for a little bit, and it was a nice little. It was a nice little exploration, to be honest. I went through these woods for a while, and I realized I'm not in any rush. I'm gonna take my time, and that's what I was doing. Just taking my time, just going through this little forest area, and it started to get dark while I was in it, and I was like, okay, I gotta get out of here. It's starting to feel like there's spirits around, and it really did feel like that. But I remember I had found an area, and there was another vehicle, so I went and investigated what was going on there, and there was a little fishing area, and there were the guys fishing, and I just talked to these guys who were fishing. It was pretty cool. They were from the area, and I talked to them for a little bit, and then I remember we had all left, and I started heading back to start heading back on my journey. Um, at this point, I had been a little lost, but I just told myself I'm going to keep going west, and that was the plan, and I kind of stuck to that. But as I got out of the woods, I came out on a different side of it, right? So I went into the woods one way, came out a different side, no idea where I'm at. I mean, I didn't know where I was in the first place, but even then, like, I had not had any sense of direction from where I came from because it was kind of windy in the woods trail. So, but the woods was so beautiful. There was like animals around. It was so beautiful just to kind of stop and just admire the beauty of what was there. Um, and so I had come out, and when I came out on the other side, I remember I must have been at the top of some giant hill or some like mountainous part because I just started going down this one road and I was going downhill and it was not stopping and I was like fucking running it. It was great. It was great. It was a rush and there was nobody else on the road, so it was just me on this little road in the middle of the woods just driving down this hill, and it was so fun. And I came out of there, continued west, and I finally got out of Pennsylvania at some point, but not before I did, actually. I remember I was still in PA. I think I was. Got another flat. This time I didn't have a replacement. It was the next day. But this time I didn't have a replacement for the tire. I had felt really like I made a big mistake. But I knew I had the insurance, and I had the insurance card. And I looked it up, and lo and behold, I was able to get a new tire. Tow truck guy came up, and he said we could take you to this place. We'll get you a new tire. I was like, all right, man, let's do it. So he tows me, and this guy was interesting. He was an older guy. I told him I was going to California. He told me a story about California. He told me that he was very he had lived in California for a few years as a like the radio side of it. And he had told me a little story about a guy. Oh, and mind you, this guy, he was he was definitely Western Pennsylvanian. Let's say that much. And he was telling me that there was a bunch of people who worked in the studio with him, and he was part of the radio team, but there was like another satellite radio team. I forget exactly the details of it. But so long story short, he was telling me how one of the people had worked in the same department he had, but like they did the same thing. He's like, why are there two people in this department? There only needs to be one. And he was saying how the guy was black and he didn't like him, and he wasn't very happy about this guy. I was kind of keeping quiet for most of this conversation. I didn't want to say too much. I let him tell his story. And he had continued the story to where at one point he had kind of dropped an N-bomb on this guy. Hard R, because he said it literally to me in the car. It was yeah. He must have thought that I was cool with it. But anyways, he says that, and he told me about how shortly after that he went home and he had not been able to get to bed, but he finally started to go to bed. But in the middle of the night, he woke up and things on his walls were moving. He was telling me about how everything was moving around on his walls, and I'm just like I didn't know how to feel about it. And he was like, yeah, and I was like, I got the fuck out of there. I was like, oh, how did the stuff on your walls moving make you feel? He's like, well, I never been through an earthquake before. And I'm just like, oh, he was in an earthquake. Interesting. It didn't seem like that's what he was implying at first. But he told me that he had moved out of California after that, and he still was very racist to the whole thing, so I guess that didn't really teach him a lesson. And I don't know, for him to tell me this story, maybe he did kind of realize the lesson, because it felt like, I don't know. I remember after he had gotten me to the place where the tire was, and we got the tire replaced, he was leaving. I was like, hey man, Just remember, try not to judge a book by its cover, you know? And he was just like, yeah, yeah. He drove off. And I had my new tire. So I was good to go. And I kept going on my journey. I remember I'd gotten to Ohio. Is it Ohio? It was west of Pennsylvania, I believe. I'm not great with geometry, but you'll probably learn that. But anyway, so I'd gone from Ohio, and I remember I had stopped into Illinois as well. While I was in Illinois, I had an interesting experience. So my phone was dying. I remember I didn't have a charger, and my phone was dying, and I had stopped at other places to charge my phone, but I wasn't able to because it was like late at night or something like that. And that's right, I stopped into a little hotel, and my phone, I tried to charge it, but I wasn't able to. This little hotel in is like a hotel. It wasn't a motel. It was actually like a kind of nice hotel, but it was little in Chicago, in Chicago specifically. And I had a friend in Chicago, and I was trying to get in touch with them to hang out with them. You know, I didn't know anybody else from Chicago. I knew them, and I was trying, just see if they wanted to hang out, and they did. They did, and I had my Magic card, so we were gonna play some Magic the Gathering. And but I wasn't, like, I remember I tried to find them that night, and I got lost, and my phone was ended up dying, so I ended up not being able to. I had a portable charger. Actually, I do remember I had a portable charger. Uh, but it wasn't working, or maybe it was dead, something like that. So I'd gone to find a spot to just park and hang overnight, and I did. And it was nice to wake up the next day in the middle of somewhere I've never been. Actually, I remember I woke up in Chicago, just thinking like, this is kind of cool. This is a fun experience. But I did end up getting my phone charged and finding my friend the next day. We got together, and I remember, oh, right. Okay, this is the part where it gets interesting. So, I actually had been very low on gas. I didn't have gas money. Oh, that's right, because I lost my debit card. I lost the card that I was using no, it was the credit card. I had lost the credit card I was using. Get tires and get stuff, get all the things. And um you know what? Before I got to Chicago though, I know I'm going back and forth with the story. I'm sorry. I did lose another tire. I lost another tire, and I felt like this is the third one. What is going on right now? But there was something in me that realized everything's going to be okay. Bad stuff's going to happen, but everything is going to be okay. I just have to have faith and stay positive, and I did. And everything did end up being okay. I had another guy can't come and tow me and get another tire, and that's right, because I remember I got another tire with the credit card before Chicago. Yep. So I lost the card after that. I don't know if it was at a gas station or in Chicago specifically. It fallen on my pocket. I don't know. I don't remember. I just remember I'd lost that card. And when I had gotten to Chicago, I had nowhere to park the car. I remember I was like trying to find a spot to park it, and I ended up finding a nice parking garage. So I went to the top of the parking garage and I parked it there. Because at this point, I'm thinking maybe I should just get a train. I knew there was a train that went from Chicago to LA. Like, maybe I'll just take this train. It's like Unity Station in Chicago. And I wasn't able to get in touch with my friend at this point, but I was able to get my phone charged. Somewhere in the station, I think. And so when I got to the station, I was telling my friend, who apparently wasn't too far, and they ended up meeting me in the station. And so we hung out. But I'm thinking I'll just go, like, I know where my car is. Top of this parking garage. It was safe there. And I that night I had told my friend, you know what? I'm going to Chicago, so I'm gonna give you these keys to this car. Do what you want with it. It's in the parking garage. I actually didn't even have money to get at the parking garage at that point. With you, but I was still, I said, because I had lost the credit card and I didn't have any money on my debit card at the time, and I had but I had still decided to hang out with him. So we hung out, and one thing that happened while we were in the card shop, because we wanted to we were gonna play Commander games, but the new set had just come out. Edge of Eternities had just come out. The new Magic set, Edge of Eternities, just came out that time, and there was a pre-release. There actually was a two-headed giant the day we were at this store. There was a two-headed giant. If you don't know what two-headed giant is, I'm gonna just run through it real quick. Two-headed giant is basically a place where you a version of Magic where you go in with a two-player team and you go against other two-player teams. And my friend was very new to Magic. They did not feel confident, but I told them, "Don't worry. You're gonna get some cards out of it." And I was telling them, we're gonna do a great job on this. I'm gonna teach you how to make your own deck. We're gonna have a good time, and that's exactly what happened. I taught them how to make their own deck, and we ended up both having some pretty good decks, and we ended up going undefeated in our tournament. We ended up winning that tournament. Got a total of, I think, and mind you, I didn't pay for any of this. My friend paid for everything, so I let him keep all the cards. Obviously, I didn't want any of it, and obviously they had all the prize packs that came out as well. And they ended up getting I think it was 10 prize packs of Edge of Eternities, which was pretty good. And because the event itself was only like $60, but we got 2 pre-release kits out of it that basically paid for that. So when we had extra fun, they had opened the prize packs and they opened up an Ancient Tomb foil, which in this set, Ancient Tomb is probably the most expensive card that was in it. And they had gotten a foil version of it, the alternate, so beautiful, space art of it. And I think at the time the card was a $500 card, which that paid for their event and more. And so we were planning to head back to he was driving me back to where my car was, and I was like, here, I gave him the keys to the car. I was like, I'm gonna just end up taking the train to California. He's like, don't do that, you should drive. Can't, I don't have the money. He's like, well, here. He ended up wiring me PayPaling me $100, which went right to my debit card, and that was enough to get me out of the parking lot, get some more gas, and go. And I said, you know what, thanks, man. Maybe I'll just keep doing this. And lo and behold, I keep driving, and at this point I start driving south from Illinois. Somehow I got to, wow, I apologize. I feel like I should know the name of this state. Directly above Texas is Oklahoma. Yeah. I was in Oklahoma. And oh yeah, by the way, another thing I did with my friend is we stopped in Chinatown, and somehow I knew the way to Chinatown. I don't know why, because I don't think I've been in Chicago before, but I was able to direct us to Chinatown. I just had followed my sense, and it brought us to, he said, he didn't say let's go to Chinatown. He wasn't telling me take us to Chinatown. It was just we'll just go wherever you want to go. I was he was lead the way, and I led the way to Chinatown. That's kind of where I wanted to go, so it worked out. And we ended up getting Bonchon there, which was one of my favorite places. But anyways, I digress. So I left Illinois and got to Oklahoma very quickly. I remember I did stop at, I think, one McDonald's on the way to charge my phone, but I charged my phone. I had gotten to Oklahoma, and my family had got in touch with me, I remember, at the McDonald's, and they were kind of just making sure I was okay, wondering what was going on, because this is not something I've done before. I've never done anything this sporadic, or it was not within my nature, but I wanted to do something, and I did, and I told them, guys, if you're worried about me, pray for me, but I'm gonna be fine, and I'd known that that's what I needed to tell them, because I had felt like things were gonna be okay. And while I got to Oklahoma in one piece, and I remember I had some Magic cards, and I was like, maybe I could sell some Magic cards to get some more gas money. So I had my phone was dead at this point. Yeah, my phone was dead at this point. I remember I was just like, I'm gonna just get off at a random exit that I feel like is the right exit to get off. I didn't know anywhere. I've never been to Oklahoma before. If I was, I not for enough time for me to learn the roads or the locations. So I'd gone to this little I remember it was like a little smoke shop in Oklahoma, and I knew that there were gonna be cool people there, and I was like, "Hey man, my phone's dead. I'm just looking for a card shop nearby. Could you maybe help me?" And he did. He directed me to the. He said there were two. He showed me where the closest one is, and I went to this little close card shop. And it was actually not just a card shop. They had video games there. This place was actually awesome. I can't remember the name of the place right now. If you go to my my Twitter though, I did shout them out on my Twitter. Awesome place in Oklahoma, little card shop, and they were really really friendly. There was I remember Tori. Tori was the guy who was there when I walked in. He was the only one working actually at the time. And I walked in and you know, greeted Tori, and he was super friendly. And I told him, "Hey man, I have some Magic cards. Can I sell them? Maybe for some cash?" And he said, "Well, I don't think I'm gonna be able to give you too much." And I did have some that were worth something. He's like, "Here, I'm gonna give you $20." I was like, "Are you serious, man?" I didn't know this guy. I literally just met him. Tori felt it was suitable for him to give me a $20 bill, and he was like, "You know what? I'm playing this Star Wars game. We started playing this Star Wars Unlimited game here, and I want you to try it out." He was like, "You should try it out. It's a fun game." I was like, "You know what, Tori?" He gave me $20, and it's not that I felt like I owed him anything, but he was being super nice, and I did kind of feel like I wanted to spend more time with this guy. He was a nice guy. Like, yeah, you know what, Tori, teach. And I love card games. I've loved card games my entire life. I did the Pokemon to Yu-Gi-Oh to Magic pipeline, and I've played other card games since then. I've loved card games for most of my life. And so Tori had kind of showed me how to play this card game. He gave me a deck to play with, and him and I both played, and it was really fun. He was like, "Listen, and I'm gonna even do something. Do you want to be better? You could make a deck out of all of our commons and extra cards here, and it's free of charge. It's yours to take home." I said, "Tori, you're too nice, man." He's like, "No, this is something I do for everybody." I'm like, "All right, Tori." And I went and I made a deck. Uh, I forget which the deck I was, but I remember once again this was on my Twitter. I'd shown the cards off that I made a deck of, and the colors were green, yellow, blue. I remember. If you know Star Wars card game, you know what I'm talking about. And it was cool, man. And they had a tournament actually that day. I was like, all right. He was like, "You can play the tournament free of charge." Tori told me. He's like, "You don't have to pay anything, dude. It's on me." This guy's so nice, man. And I play in the tournament. I come in last place. Didn't win one match, but I learned a lot and I had a lot of fun. And he was like, "Listen, we're having another tournament in 2 days. If you want to hang around." Remember, this was I think Thursday. No, this was Friday. This was the Friday. No, was it? No, it was a Thursday. That's right. It was a Thursday because I remember the next day was Friday, and I wanted to play Magic at Friday Night Magic the next day. Corey didn't run Friday Night Magic at his store, but I remember I mentioned there were two card shops. To the other card shop, which was called like the Pig something, the Pig Burrow or something. I forget exactly what it was called, but so I'd known about this other card shop where they do play Magic more. So Tori, what I'm gonna do is I hung out with him, played in the tournament on Thursday. I said tomorrow I'm gonna go meet these other guys, play Magic with them, because they have my commander decks. And then Saturday was when he told me to come back for the other Star Wars tournament. I said, "We're doing this. I'm down. It sounds fun." So I remember I slept in a random parking lot in Oklahoma, and it was in front of this like I forget what the place was, but it was like a little like fellowship type church type place. And it was like, you know what, this seems like a nice place to park. So I parked out front there, and the next morning I did some exercise, and I had my Switch with me, and so I remember every time I had pulled over, I had my Switch in Ring Fit, and I played the Ring Fit game and did a little bit of workout every opportunity that I got. And so this was so nice. It was something way different than what I normally do, and I felt like I was really like I was like discovering something, and I was like learning like this is a fun way to live. Um, Even though I wasn't at home, I didn't have all the comforts of home, and I didn't have I wasn't able to cook, I wasn't able to do anything, but I was able to get by. Like I said, I had some food that I had left over my, and I was pretty low on the food at this point. And so I knew I had to start buying some more food, and I did like plan to do that with some of the money that I had. And so Friday rolled around, and I went to this card shop with these guys. It was the Oinkers, I think it was called. Yeah, the place was called Oinkers or something. And I remember they had like a little pig on their picture. And so I went into Oinkers and I played Friday Night Magic with these people I never met, and these were super cool people. They were all so friendly, and I remember I was like like some of them didn't even know how to play Magic too well, and I was teaching them stuff as we played. And it was so nice to kind of just bring my expertise into here, and these guys were all super friendly and liked me, and I had a lot of fun. And then Saturday rolled around, and I came back to Tori's shop, and I met the owner there. The owner was another really cool, nice guy, and he was playing there. I played with his son, I remember, because his son was one of the people who was playing in the Star Wars Unlimited card game, and but this day, like some of the people had already met me since the Friday. And one of the guys was super nice. He was like, "You know what, man? I'm gonna let you upgrade the deck with some of my collection." And he let me use some of his cards. So I ended up going through his stuff, and he let me make so I ended up making, in the end, a Han Solo deck, which is funny if you think about it with what I was doing. So I ended up making like a Han Solo at the Command Center deck. It wasn't blue. It wasn't blue, yellow, green. It was blue, white, green. Because I kept the same colors of the deck. I remember. So I made this deck, and it was a lot better than the first time. And I think I'd won 2 of my matches. I won one of them that I'd lost to somebody the first Thursday, and then I'd won against them on Saturday. And then I also played against Tori's son. What's his name? It was I'm trying to remember his name because it was somebody from Star Wars, and that's how I was able to remember it. It was a character from Star Wars that I can't remember. It's like one of the characters from like Clone Wars or something that I don't know all their names too well. But I it was cool because this kid's name was named after that character. I want to say like Alistair, but it wasn't Alistair. I know it's not that. It was something like that though. But anyways, I had this is a really nice kid, and he was like, "What's your name?" And I told him my name, and he's like, "Oh," and he was like so excited to meet me, and he was so nice, and I was like, Tori's a great dad. I was just thinking, man, I would love to be a dad like that someday. And I found out he was a single dad too. And sometimes you have to be a single dad, and it's something that see, maybe if that ever happens to me, I think I want to be ready for that moment, and that's, I feel like, part of what the universe is preparing me for. But let me not get too into that. I ended up going, I think, 2-2, 2 wins, 2 losses that day. But I had a great time, and I did much better than my first tournament. I actually won some matches, which was nice. And I remember I was telling Tori, like, when I had off soon, he's like, "You should stay here in Oklahoma." I think so. I considered it. I really considered it. I felt like that whole community thing again. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I'd just fallen into place in this community. And everybody was super friendly. I remember I'd gotten some phone numbers of people, and like, everybody was so nice. And the owner even had me open up a booster pack of one of his booster packs. I remember they were opening I think it was like a wrestling. It was like something. It was a WCW or WWF or some sort of card game, some sort of like collectible cards. It wasn't a card game. It was collectible cards of this game. And he's like, "You want to open up a pack?" Because I saw him open up packs. I was like, "Oh, what's this?" He's like, "Here, you want to open a pack?" I opened a pack, and it was like a super rare, like, couple $100 card. And he's like, "You want to keep that?" And I was like, "No, dude, I don't want this." So I was like, "You keep it." It was his cards, and he was like it was awesome, because I think he was like trying to give me the pack to open and keep, but I didn't want to do that. Yeah, so we got there, we opened some cool cards, and everybody was super nice. And I remember I was telling him, "You know what, I need just a little bit more cash, and maybe I could sell some of my Switch games to you." And because I had a bunch of Switch games on me, so I ended up selling a bunch of my Switch games there. And even like I had enough to get Dark Souls, which was another, because I wanted Dark Souls for my Switch, so I had it, and he gave me the leftover cash. And so it was good. It was a good deal, because remember, like I said, they had video games there too, and they had a lot of like classic cool games. I'm not giving this place enough justice, but like I said, go check out my Twitter, and you can see it. It's an awesome place in Oklahoma. So anyways, I ended up leaving that day, getting to Texas. I drove towards Texas. I don't know why I didn't go towards California, but I went towards Texas. I wanted to keep going south, and then I wanted to keep going west. But I went to Texas first because, you know what? There was somebody I did want to meet in Texas, and it was actually that guy who I said was like the cocaine addict. Um, and I wanted to meet him in person and see how he was doing. Wasn't able to get in touch with him, but while I was driving through the highway on Texas, I had gotten pulled over by the police. What's happened? What's going on? They told me the car was reported stolen. I went to jail that night. That Saturday night in Texas, I went to jail. That's another story for another day. I'll tell that story, but I realize this video is getting very long, so I just wanted to end with one thing. I want to end with another song, and I hope you enjoy. This is called Black Mamba by the Academy is. We got one chance to break out, we need it now. Cause I'm sick and tired of waiting, sick of this fucking apartment. Love me or leave me or rip me apart. This is the voice that I was given, and if you don't like it, take a long walk out to the shortest pier you can find, and I'll be singing it out. I'll be singing, oh Mr. Magazine, never wrote one single thing for you or your so-called music scene. You don't mean a thing to me. Well, pick it up, it's what you wanted. Pick it up, you need it too. Pick it up, it's what you wanted. Pick it up, When they review the debut, what if the critics hate you? Don't worry, cause you might just catch somebody off their feet. Well, they can love it, or leave it, or rip it apart. They're living what we're singing, so I guess that's a step in the right direction. Clever composition and the honesty. Oh, Mr. Magazine, never wrote one single thing for you or your so-called music scene. You both mean shit to me. Pick it up, it's what you wanted. Pick it up, you need it too. Pick it up, it's what you wanted. Pick it up. So save your breath and the money you spent. Go work in retail and spare the suspense. Just don't take chances on anything at all. Too afraid of anything that may not come that easy. Too afraid of anything you may not have seen before. Too afraid of anything that may not come that easy. Too afraid of anything you may not. Pick it up, it's what you wanted. Pick it up, you need it too. Pick it up, it's what you wanted. Pick it up. So save your breath and the money you spent. Go work in retail, spare the suspense. Just don't take chances on anything at all. So save your breath and the money you spend. Go work in retail, spare the suspense. Just don't take chances on anything at all. Thank you. Come on. Peace, love.